everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. This is an album I've been curious to check out for a while. I think that the Smashing Pumpkins are a very 50-50 band for me. I've loved half of the stuff I've heard, and then the other half of the stuff I've heard I've really not clicked with. And the biggest thing about that is Billy Corgan's vocals. His vocals are so hit and miss for me that it's made me so morbidly curious to know what I would think of a full album of theirs. And I thought I would go with Siamese Dream because Butch Vig produced this album, and this was either right before or right after Nevermind, and that has me very excited for this because I love Butch Vig's production style. This album came out in 93, so this was after Nevermind, okay. It is 13 tracks, an hour long. This is a decently long album. But, I don't know, I'm excited to get into this one. I'm very curious to see what I'm going to think of this as a whole. Apparently they were supposed to be called the Great Pumpkin, like that Peanuts, but they weren't allowed to use it, so they chose the Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, so it literally is smashing in, like, the old English sense of the word. Alright, that's kind of dumb. I hate that name, the Smashing Pumpkin. Why can't they just be called Smashing Pumpkins? I feel like that's a great name. But the Smashing Pumpkins, that's dumb. Okay, I disagree with their name. Enough with me yapping about their name. I am just going to get straight into this. Track 1, Cherub Rock. I've heard this song before, by the way. Incredible riff. Guitar tone is fantastic. Yeah, I'm very mixed on the vocals on this song. That is the one thing I'm going to say straight off the bat here. I am so torn on the vocal performance on this song. There's moments here where I'm thinking, okay, the vocals kind of work here. They actually sort of add to the very odd intensity but also dreamlikeness of this song, and then there's other moments where I think this just sounds goofy, and it's just kind of going back and forth between that. If it was Liam Gallagher, it would be a 10. Exactly. The drums are incredible. Great fills in here. The recording of the drums is fantastic as well. Like, that Butch Vig production is already shining. It's easily like the standout on this up to this point. Yeah, lots of great, like, instrumental ideas on this song. Like, particularly the guitars. Cherub Rock. This song, it's grown on me a little bit. I think that the instrumental on that song is, it's practically flawless. There are a couple moments in there where the mix is a little rough. Particularly with, like, the cymbals sounding maybe a little too buried at certain points. But for the most part, I think that the instrumental on that song is just very creative. It's a fantastic way to introduce the sound of this album. Butch Vig's production really gets to shine on this song as well. But the vocals, while the vocals are really my only big complaint, it's a big complaint. I think that the vocals, while they have their moments where I think they bring a certain level of charm to the song, and that they do sort of fit the intense and also dreamlike sound that it's going for the most part, they just sound corny. They just don't work at all for me. I really, really do not like the vocals for the vast majority of this song, and it just kind of turns me away from all of the stuff that is genuinely great about the track. The reasoning as to why this is the case is because it feels like he just kind of leans into the very breathy inflection just a little bit too much, and it feels like it kind of cheapens the very intense emotion of this track a little bit for me. I will say on a re-listen it isn't quite as bad, but still it does kind of turn me away from the song a little bit. They were great, stop complaining. Listen, I gotta be honest, okay? I wanna like this more than I did. Well, I will say the song as a whole is really good. It is a very solid song. It's just this one thing that I don't like, but it's a big thing. This song for me is like the highest 7 I can give. It's a 7.9, but I can't give it an 8 because the vocals genuinely bug me enough to the point where I wouldn't really return to this. Don't hear any of their new albums? What, do the vocals get worse? That's unfortunate. Next up we have Quiet. But the second half vocally was great. It definitely did have its moments, yeah. Already unwatchable. 1 million dislikes. Maybe 3 likes. Ooh. Drums are amazing. I think the vocals are actually working really well on this one. That double backbeat with the flams there, that's really cool. That double backbeat? I don't even know. I'm a drummer and I don't even know drum terminology properly. Nice transition. That song was great. That was actually incredible. The drumming was easily the standout of that song. Some incredible fills in there, and just the energy of the drums as a whole, I feel like really brought that track up a lot. Billy Corgan's vocals work a lot better on that song than they did on the first one for me, and also I feel like just the riffs and the overall aggressive energy of that track was honestly a step up from the previous track, even when that was like my biggest positive about the first one. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing that brings this album down for me, is how 50-50 I am on the vocals. That song I'd give an 8.4. I think that that's a really, really great track, and one I would easily see myself returning to a lot. Yeah, I'm hoping we get more songs like that. I'm not coming out of this album expecting it to be like the greatest like 90s rock album I've heard. I just want to come out with like a handful of tracks that I can say I'm going to return to a lot. And based on the songs I've already heard off of this album, I know I'm going to get that already, so. Next track today. I think I've heard this one. Stoner rock and shoegaze mix, yeah. I love the contrast of the super heavy chorus and then these just very stripped back, clean verses. Alright, let's take a look at these lyrics. Today's the greatest day I've ever known, can't live for tomorrow, tomorrow's much too long. I'll burn my eyes out before I get out, I wanted more than life could ever grant me. Bored by the chore of saving face, today is the greatest day I've ever known, can't wait for tomorrow, I might not have that long, I'll tear my heart out before I get out. What he's essentially saying with this song is he's like, he's putting on an act, you know, today's the greatest day I've ever known, can't wait for tomorrow. But he's like, I don't know if I'm going to get that far, because I'll tear my heart out. Basically, he's sick and tired of his life, and he's tired of pretending to, you know, be happy with the way things are going. That's what I'm getting from this, at least. And remember, it's a contradiction because of how happy it sounds in the verses, when the lyrics are actually so down. Remember that. Nice, that was another great track. I think I've heard that one before. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I have. I recognize the melody to that song. Yeah, I think that writing-wise, that was the most interesting song so far. Vocals, again, on that track worked decently well for me. I think that the contrast of the super heavy chorus with the very clean, stripped-back verses worked super well, and then the ironic lyrics talking about it's the greatest day I've ever known, but in actuality, he's tired of pretending that every day's the greatest day, and he wants to actually let his feelings out. I feel like everything about that song worked really well. That was probably my favorite up to this point. I give that one like an 8.8, 8.9. That was a great track. Next song, Hummer. I've already heard this one. In fact, I'm going to remove it from the like songs and re-add it just to bunch it with the rest. Oh, it's this song. Okay, I remember this, yeah. Incredible bass line on this one. They use a lot of overdubs and pedals on the album. I think that works in its favor. I like how just overwhelming everything sounds. That's what Oasis were doing? I mean, maybe. I have no clue what Oasis's recording technique was, but if that was what they were doing, it wasn't done as well as this. So I think the sound of this album is incredible, and most of that can probably be attributed to Butchvig, but I just think the guitar tones are far better. I think that the mix is far better here. Everything just feels a lot more balanced and like overwhelming in a more positive way. These drum sounds are amazing. That snare has so much like crack to it, you know what I'm saying? Sounds so punchy. This guy doesn't seem to have much taste for good alt rock. I think he's just too young. Mother, I'm sat here enjoying this. It was at this point that the antagonist of the video, the fucking supervillain of the week, decided to hop in and start being annoying as hell in the chat. And I actually ended up spending about, what, half an hour's worth of video time just actually trying to debate this guy until JC, my mod, actually finally just removed him from the chat. So be prepared for a whole bunch of yapping. Some of my favorite albums of all time are alt-rock albums. OK Computer is an alt-rock album. It's my favorite album of all time, and the album is older than me. Some of my favorite albums of all time came out in like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. You have to understand, just because I'm not 50, 60 years old doesn't mean I don't like this. I have my problems. I have my issues that I will speak about because I want to be honest. I want to talk about every aspect that I have thoughts on and actually provide something substantive. This is better than OK Computer, hands down. If you think that, that's fine. This is entirely opinion-based. You have to understand that nothing I say is meant to be taken as factual. This is what the music says to me. This is how I connect with it. And I'm just trying to have discussion. I'm not sitting here trying to say, this album sucks objectively. This is trash. Why would anyone ever listen to this? No, I think that this album's great so far. I won't say that it's the greatest rock album I've ever heard, but it's good. It's well produced, fun, energetic as hell, has some nice shoegazy elements, and I think that it's just a fantastic ride so far. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that that's the objective truth. You can hate this album, you can love this album. I just want to have some discussion. I will never sit here and try and spin something as an objective truth, because it's not. It's my opinion, and my opinion doesn't matter. You have to understand that my thoughts on this music, they don't matter. I just like sharing them. And sitting here just being like, yeah, you're too young, you'll get it when you're 70 years old. It's so dismissive, and I feel like it just ruins the point of music discussion. There is no reason to sit there and just be like, yeah, you're too young for that. It's pointless. This is one of the defining masterpieces of the 90s, and I'm enjoying it. I am loving this album. And I'm loving it. This song is amazing. Are you hearing how incredible the dynamics on this song are? Are you hearing how fluid this is? How much motion there is to this song? Are you hearing just how vibrant the guitar tones are? How incredible the drum sounds are? How passionate Billy Corgan's vocals are on this track? This is fucking fantastic. This song is amazing. JC is just taking names right now. JC is gunning for heads. Jesus. You love this song? As do I. This is handily the best song so far. Hummer. Incredible. Hummer is a fantastic song. Easily the best song up to this point. The ending of this song, yes, is fantastic. I agree. And I think just the entirety of this track is amazing. Billy Corgan providing easily the best vocal performance so far. The dynamics on this song are incredible. It's so fluid. It has so much motion. It goes through multiple different phases that I think transition in and out of each other incredibly. The guitar tones on this song are vibrant as hell. The drums sound incredible. And not only that, the pacing of this song, it's 7 minutes and it goes by like that. This song is incredibly paced. This is the best song so far. It's like a solid 9 for me, like a 9.5, 9.6. Song is amazing. It's a contender for best Smashing Pumpkins song I've heard. I love this song so much. Next up we have Rocket. OK Computer revolutionized the music. I wouldn't quite go that far. It's an influential, groundbreaking album, but revolutionized? That might be pushing that a bit. Oh my god, so pretentious. I'm challenging your understanding of a genre you won't like. But dude, that's why do you think I'm doing this? It's to get a deeper understanding. Why do you... You have to understand that I'm not built in with this knowledge. I'm doing this to get a deeper understanding and to explore these albums. And I'm sharing my thoughts while doing it. But in the process of me doing it, you're telling me that I shouldn't? And you're saying that I'm too young for this? It's got, like, it's the same thing with the Oasis fans. I was always told, like, you haven't given an Oasis album a try. Why haven't you given an Oasis album a try? And then I listen to an Oasis album and I hate it, and they go, well, you didn't like the Oasis songs you already heard. Why did you even listen to this? You have to let me give this a try. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving it a try, sharing my thoughts, and asking for other people's thoughts. Outstomping Squash album so far? Very good. It's probably your least favorite. I will say, this isn't one of, like, the most mind-blowing songs so far, but I just think the atmosphere of this one is great. And I've never gotten the thing of, like, you weren't alive for this movement. Okay. But the music still exists. It's not like when the movement was happening is the only time you're allowed to listen to it. This music still exists to be discovered. It's like the Beatles. That shit came out 60 years ago. And I'm still able to listen to it and find plenty of enjoyment out of the vast majority of their albums. Like Highway 61 came out 60 years ago. One of my favorite albums ever made. Songs in the Key of Life, 50 years ago. One of the best albums I've ever heard. Yeah, well, I can't say Rocket is one of the best songs on the album up to this point. I still think it's a really fun track. Great atmosphere on this song. Lots of the background stuff going on with the guitars is fantastic, and a lot of texture here. I think that the drums on this one, again, are a massive standout. And again, Billy Corgan providing a super solid vocal performance. It's far from the best song on the album, but still a great one that I'd see myself coming back to a decent amount. I would give this a low 8, like a 8.1, 8.2. What's critically acclaimed after 2005 doesn't account for much? Why? Just because it's new doesn't mean it's by default bad. Think about how much great pop and rock and hip-hop has been coming out over the past 20 years. Like, Kendrick Lamar, amazing. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, amazing. Knocked Loose, amazing. Hell, even some older bands like Foo Fighters put out one of their best albums last year. We are living in an era where Queens of the Stone Age are still putting out great music. We are living in an era where hip-hop is still full of really great stuff to discover and is ever-changing. Mainstream music, maybe, but there's still great stuff. Yeah, as soon as you start scratching beyond the very, very, very surface, you can start finding some great stuff easily. New 21 Pilots album was great. The new Knocked Loose album's fantastic. King Gizzard put out a great album this year. Kendrick Lamar has been creating insane splashes across music as a whole with the Drake disses, and all of them have been fantastic. Just incredibly produced, scathing diss tracks, you know what I'm saying? Next up we have Disarm. And by that I mean Spotify doesn't want to play the song. There we go. It's about child abuse, okay. It was at this point, after spending 8 straight minutes just yapping at this guy in the chat, that JC finally swooped in and decided that's enough. And he timed the guy out. Yeah, the video from this point is basically just standard reaction, thankfully. No more people coming into the chat trying to convince me that I'm too young to listen to, you know, the most popular rock music of the 90s. So, yeah. Hopefully, the rest of the video is more watchable than that little section there. I shouldn't be wearing the glasses for this song. I really shouldn't. The song is fantastic. A great emotional piece on this album. A fantastic stripping back from all of the super heavy, grungy, shoegazy stuff, and having a song with a great string arrangement, nice heavy percussion, and a very heartfelt performance from Billy Corgan. I can't say it's like my absolute favorite up to this point, but it's really, really sweet. I would give this like an 8.5. Next up we have Soma. If I could go to one historical concert, what would it be? Talking Heads. I would have loved to have been able to see Talking Heads live. I really like the softer moments on this album. Oh my god. Such an incredible payoff for the first 3 minutes of the song. Ooh. That was amazing. That was the best blend of the softer, more subtle moments and the super aggressive, raw, heavy moments. That was the best blend on the album up to this point. The heavy moments serve as incredible payoffs for the more intimate, slower sections on this track. I love the fact that this is a longer song as well. It's 6.5 minutes, and I feel like it needs to be that long to be fully fleshed out, to fully explore both the softer and heavier moments to their fullest extent. I am loving this album more than I thought I would. I was thinking that this album would be a mixed bag for me, and that there were going to be like a handful of songs that I really didn't like. But no, I've actually enjoyed every single song up to this point. Every song has been has ranged from good to fantastic. And I'm so happy with this so far. This song in particular, I think, is arguably my favorite up to this point. This one's like another 9.6, 9.7 for me. This album is insanely good. This is ridiculous so far. Next up we have Geek U.S.A. I've already heard this one. One of the best drum intros ever on this song, by the way. That fill is so good. That's such a cool fill. Man, the drums are like the standout of this whole album for me, I can't lie. Ooh. This song did not need to have this beautiful slowdown, but it has it anyway. That is smooth as hell. Incredible dynamic range on this. They could have gone the easy route and just have it been a super loud, rowdy rock album front to back. But this album perfectly balances the quiet moments and with the intensity, and it's done it ridiculously well. Like, this is beyond impressive. Do I like cover more in orange or white? I like the orange cover more. Was there a tempo change there? I was distracted a bit reading the chat. Was that a tempo change? Oh, that bass. Oh my god. That song is even better than I remember it being. It's actually better than I even remember it being. It's so good. Song is flawless. That's the best song on this album up to this point, easily. Firstly, that song has a 10. That is mind-blowing track, actually. Firstly, one of the most iconic drum intros ever. Incredible fill at the start of the track, and I love the way it comes back multiple times throughout the song. Drumming, one of the biggest standouts on this album up to this point, easily. I completely forgot about that slowdown on this song. I completely forgot about it. But when it comes in, it doesn't need to be there. The song could work perfectly fine, just being super heavy and like over the top throughout the entire way through, but it actually gives you that slowdown and it just elevates it that little bit more to bring it to like 10 out of 10 status. That was gorgeous. And not only that, the pacing of that song, ridiculously good. 5 minutes flies by. I am so impressed by this album. I seriously was not expecting to love it this much. I knew I was going to like it, but I was expecting this to be way more of a mixed bag than it is. That song is insane. That is so good. Next track, Mayonnaise. I have also heard this one already. This album is so much more like somber than I was expecting it to be. Like, I knew it was going to have, like, somber elements based on the songs I'd already heard, but this album is a lot more depressed than I was expecting. Like, I was thinking it was going to be way more, like, off the walls, trying to go for, like, a more ridiculous rock sound, but it really is a very, like, serious, mellow album. And I like that. I like that it isn't just big, loud guitars, you know what I'm saying? It is actually really emotional and heartfelt, and it really elevates these songs to like that next level for me, and it's the biggest reason why I think I'm loving this as much as I am. More melancholy than melancholy. Yeah, melancholy has more nihilistic lyrics. Interesting. I'm definitely going to do melancholy at some point. Incredible acoustic guitar sound here. Gorgeous. I'm also surprised at how little Billy Corgan's voice has been bugging me. Like, on the first song I wasn't crazy on the vocals at all, but outside of that, I've been loving the vocals on this album. Like, his performances have been incredible on, like, practically every song besides the first one. And maybe that was just me adjusting, so maybe coming back to the first song, I might end up enjoying it more. I don't know. I feel like the vocals were just, like, a bit too much on the first song for me. They felt like they were leaning into it a bit too much. Finch stream in a month then? Exactly. Listening to The Glowing Man while I'm on crack. That's gonna be such a great video. Mayonnaise. One of the best songs on the album. If this feels like a grungy slow dance, you know what I'm saying? It is so somber. It is so mellow. It is so depressed. But it also has that same heaviness, that same rawness, that same subtle aggression that the rest of the album has. And it combines the two in such an amazing way. That song is gorgeous. It is deeply sad. It is just as heartfelt as anything else on this album. And I feel like I'm like lost for words. This album is so good. This is like one of the most refreshing rock albums I've heard in a while. The song's like a low 9 for me, like a 9.2, 9.3. Foo Fighters are breaking... Wait, really? Hold on a sec. After Dave Grohl cheated on his wife and had a baby with another woman, the Foo Fighters have gone on an indefinite hiatus, just like Jack Black's Tenacious D. You have to love it when the virtue signaling leftists destroy themselves by... Huh? Oh, they're turning the Foo Fighters breaking up into politics. They're on an indefinite hiatus. Makes sense. Okay? Based on the circumstances, it makes sense that they would do that. Next track, Spaceboy. I like that we're getting a full acoustic song. Really nice change of pace. Well, not change of pace, nice change in tone. Loving the string arrangement on this. One of the biggest things that I love about Butch Vig, and I know I keep yapping about it, but it's the fact that he gets such good drum sounds. And the reason for that is because Butch Vig is a drummer, so he knows how to make drums sound great. And they sound perfect. They are so rich. They are so punchy. They are... the snare has so much crack to it. The cymbals, they ring out in the most beautiful way possible. The toms have just the right amount of resonant without sounding too loose. They actually, like, are audible in the mix. Like, the drums sound flawless on this. Same with Nevermind as well. That's one of my favorite things about Butch Vig, is he gets perfect drum sounds. Yeah. I'd love that. I really like Rick Beato's interview that he did with Butch Vig. A retrospective look at it, yeah. In that interview that Rick Beato did with Butch Vig, he talks about Smashing Pumpkins a decent amount. I forget most of what he said about the experience of working on it. I remember he was talking about recording some of the drum sounds. I love the interviews where he talks to like musicians and producers and stuff. They're really interesting.
come between us.
Super interesting transition there. Spaceboy. One of the weaker songs on here, but still great, honestly. I think that having this song be like fully acoustic with just the acoustic guitar, the string arrangements, the very natural sounding drums, it's a very, very nice switch in tone for the album. I think that it's done in a way that is enough of a switch up to provide some variety, but also not too much to the point where it feels like it veers too far from the sound of the rest of the album. I love how just natural everything sounds on here in terms of recording, the strings in particular. The drums too are just the right level to match with this acoustic sound while still sounding like they match with the more grungy stuff earlier on in the album as well. It's just a song that I feel like I wouldn't return to quite as much, and that brings it down like a tiny bit. It's still like a solid 8, like an 8.5, 8.6 for me. Just not one of my favorites up to this point. Up next we have Silverfuck. It's Silverfrick. My bad. I forgot I wasn't supposed to use such language. Oh my god. Oh, that fill was amazing. Oh yeah, these drums are definitely overdubbed, because you've got the quarter notes still going on the right cymbal while he's going down the toms. That's an overdub, I think. Oh my god. That sounds like a second Geek U.S.A or Hana. Yeah. I love that the bass is matching what the toms are doing. That's really cool. Adds like a whole nother layer of like depth to the rhythm section. Ooh. Yeah, lots of these like background sounds are reminding me of a lot of some of the stuff that was in like the slower moments on Nevermind. Like it has a lot of very similar atmospherics. Are we back? I believe we're back. I'm not restarting the album. Nuh-uh. I've already been recording for an hour and a half, and we're nearly done. Oh my god. Okay, that was pretty incredible. That is a pretty strong contender for best song on the album. I'm like torn between that and Geek U.S.A as the best song. Even with Being Distracted, I think that was a flawless front to back experience of a track. The climax of the song is literal bliss. The entirety of the song is literal bliss. It starts off as like the heaviest song on the album. It just goes in, punches you right in the face. Super insane heavy riffs. The most sporadic drum beat ever with these insane fills being thrown in here. And then you get to, what is it, about like the halfway point of the song, and everything just strips back. Everything goes into this super slow, very subtle, but also very trippy, hypnotic section. And then it just moves in and out of that and the insane, intense heaviness before reaching the most gorgeous climax I could ask for in a Smashing Pumpkins song. Oh yeah, I've been praising the hell out of Butch Vig all the way throughout this. You can feel Butch Vig coming just fresh off of Nevermind going into this. You can feel that. And that song particularly, oh my god. That song is a 10. That's another 10. It's the second 10 of the album. I'm so torn between this and Geek U.S.A as the best song on the album. That was literally everything I could ask for from this album, and more. The fact that it's nearly 9 minutes, and it doesn't feel like it in the slightest as well, that is, like, beyond impressive. Next up we have Sweet Sweet. This is the shortest song on the album by a lot. It's only like a minute and a half. Okay. Sweet little interlude to have before the final track. Decent enough. Solid enough. Sounds nice. Great vocal layering on that. Some very pretty guitar passages in there, but it's nothing to really come back to. It's like another high 7 for me. Like a 7.8, 7.9. It's good, but not great. Final track, Luna. Got a simple closer. I'm honestly fine with that. Oh, wow. Yeah, the album's already had its craziest moments past. I feel like ending it on a slower note is honestly kind of necessary. We've already had all of our big, grand, ridiculous, insane highs. I feel like a slowdown is the best way to end this album. Bringing back the subtle string arrangement for this one, that's really nice. It was a very nice closer. That felt like, after all of the insane mellowness, all of the very like depressed nature of the rest of this album and just how intense it all is. This feels like a moment of very sweet clarity. It feels like after you've pushed through all of this intensity, emotional intensity, all of the struggles that this guy's been through, it's a moment of being like, but I love you. It's like one nice little thing to end off the album, and it's a nice way of having things end on a sweeter note. Not only that, this track is just gorgeously arranged. Like, having it be more stripped back, having it be a more intimate song works fantastically. The nice, subtle string arrangement underneath all of this just adds so much texture and really elevates this track a lot for me. And not only that, I feel like Billy Corgan is genuinely providing one of the best vocal performances on the album, in my opinion. I think that his vocals on this track are fantastic. This is a really pretty way to close this. I like the song a lot. I would give this a high 8, like an 8.9, maybe even a 9. Probably like a flat 9, actually, yeah. I give this a flat 9. It's a fantastic way to close things. Pretty sure Billy Corgan was severely depressed during the making of this album as well. You can really feel that. This album is just so... It's so, like, deep in a depressed state. It's so mellow, it's so somber, and it's so unrelenting in that throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. I like this album a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. I went into this album doing like I would at least like it, but I expected it to be a very mixed bag for me because of how 50-50 I am on a lot of other Smashing Pumpkins stuff. But no, I found myself actually, at the bare minimum, really liking every single song on this album. There are only 2 songs on here that I can say I'm not crazy on, that being Cherub Rock and the interlude track, what was that one called? Sweet Sweet. But besides that, I loved everything on here. I think that Butch Vig, his production style matches perfectly with what the Smashing Pumpkins are going for. This album is so layered, it's so dense, it's so loud, but it also has a lot of subtlety, and it uses those layers and that aggression to portray a very depressed, somber state in a way that is actually very emotionally impactful and satisfying. I think that the flow of this album is fantastic. It's an hour long. There's an 8-minute track on here. There's a 6-minute track, a nearly 7-minute track. Lots of 5-minute songs as well. But it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome at any points. It really does feel like this album is just a consistent front-to-back experience that doesn't really let up at any point. It moves at such a fluid pace. It takes its time where it needs to, and it gets a lot faster where it needs to as well. I think that this album is a lot better than I expected it to be. And that's coming as someone who went into this thing with actually decently high expectations. The guitar will sound so sick. Yeah, it's done so well here. The reason I like it more when it's done here than, say, a band like Oasis is that Butch Vig knows how to create great guitar sounds and also match it with fantastic, thick bass and gorgeously recorded drums. I cannot praise Butch Vig's drum sounds enough. They are so good. They are ridiculously good. Some of the best drum sounds you're going to hear on any album. But yeah, I am going to add up the scores, and then I will tell you what my overall score for this album is. That does actually sound about right. I am feeling an 8.9 out of 10 on this album. This is a great album. Front to back, this is just some of the most satisfying 90s alt-rock, sort of grungy rock music that you are going to hear. I came out loving almost everything on this album. 2 10 out of 10 songs, a couple of 9s in there, and mostly 8s. I'm very satisfied with this album, genuinely. This is a very, very, very good rock album, and a great proper introduction to the Smashing Pumpkins for me. It's making me want to check out albums like Melancholy at some point in the future. I definitely want to cover more of that stuff after hearing this. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below. Do you love it, or do you think it's too overrated by Smashing Pumpkins fans? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know what other albums you'd like me to listen to in the future as well, any other Smashing Pumpkins albums, or just any other albums in general. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and links in the description to my Discord, my Album of the Year, my Twitter, and my second channel. Check those out if you haven't. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.